Hello, welcome to this video. We're going to do a walkthrough of Anxiety Rewired. It's our new training program that is designed to help you overcome anxiety, build emotional mastery. And I have the mind behind the program here, John Brooks, with me. John, how are you doing today?
Very good. Excited to get into this with you, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. And what I really wanted to do is just give people a chance to get an inside look on what is actually in the program. So we've created this beautiful, detailed page at anxietyrewired.com that you can go and look through and just scroll through all of the content. There's details about John's story there, why he ended up creating this program, everything that's inside of it. But we really wanted to take you behind the scenes. If you decide to enroll, what will you get? What's actually inside the program? So let's get in here. I'm going to go all the way down. Now, there are two different options that you can decide. There's a payment plan or the full option. So we've tried to make it accessible to people. But if you want to look through all of those details on that page, it's at anxietyrewired.com. So we're just going to go in here and look at the interior of the course. So this is once you sign up, this is what you'll see. And there's a quick start here section, welcome, all of that. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory what you're going to get out of that. But then we really get into the meat and bones of the program. So part one is understanding anxiety. And there's a number of pieces in that first section. So my question for you, John, is why is understanding anxiety important? Why don't we just give people tools and techniques and just use those tools and techniques? Why is having a more foundational understanding of anxiety important?
It's important because no technique will be as maximally effective if you don't know exactly why it's working. It's this idea of one of the core pillars of Anxiety Rewired is a path of emotional mastery. And even though I provide fantastic research-proven techniques that some of them have thousands of years of backing, like techniques from ancient Stoicism and Buddhism, it's very important that you understand why they work, because my goal for you is to be able to take the techniques, and because you have an understanding of how they work, how they're affecting your emotions and your anxiety, you can then tweak them. So I don't want you to always feel like you need me. The aim for me, at least, when you do this experience is for you to become your own coach. So whatever you do in life, wherever you go, you'll always have this ability to guide yourself, to help yourself, because it's kind of limiting if you always need something external to help you through a difficult time.
Absolutely. I love that. And it makes me think of the way that, as we envision and imagine the possible catastrophes that could happen, as anxiety makes us prone to do, I think about, really what's going on there is the feeling that we wouldn't be able to deal with the emotions that came up in the event that catastrophe struck. And when you can become your own coach, as you're saying, and be able to work through those emotional rough patches and have this strong confidence that you've got your own back, then it just kind of opens up this space where you feel like, bad things could happen. Bad things are going to happen at some point on a long enough timeline. But I know that I'll be able to deal with the emotions that come my way in those experiences. Is that kind of what you mean by be your own coach?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be limited, like, I feel stuck. I have to seek something externally. I have to find the new teacher or the new technique. My goal is for you to have such a deep understanding of how anxiety works, the different mechanisms at play, the way that the different interventions work and how they help you, so that whatever happens in life, you can sit down, you can go, okay, I know how anxiety works. I know the different models that lead to it. I know the different interventions that can help get rid of it. Okay, so what is the best thing for me to do right now? And you can immediately take action, and it's the right action. It's informed action. Instead of feeling stuck, hopeless, unsure, uncertain, and then you start grasping onto some new theory just because you feel stuck and helpless. That's not a good place to be.
Absolutely. I love that. So let's dive back into, part one here, because there's a lot of modules in this particular part. Is there something, one of these that really stick out to you that you think will really help move the needle for people? Obviously, all of them will be valuable. Otherwise, we wouldn't have included it. But is there one of these, we have the exposure model of anxiety, the 5 stoic problems, 4 causes. When you think about what is contained inside of this first section, is there one of them where you really feel like that is such an extremely valuable piece of information? The wisdom in that particular module is spot on. You have to watch that. It's so helpful for people. Does anything really jump out at you like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the way that I like to teach is I like to begin with a really good overview. I don't want to keep people waiting, for like hours and hours before they get to something that is helpful. So it's the very first module, the 4 causes of anxiety. That module is the basis for the entire experience. The better that you can understand the 4 causes of anxiety, you will be able to do a lot better work on conquering your own anxiety. And in fact, there are different modules that just go deeper and explore that core module even further. That's what the special studies are about. And what I like about this, the 4 causes of anxiety module, is that it captures the spirit of the course. I'm not only going to provide you with one theory about why you have anxiety or one intervention. I'm going to show you the different models, the different views that different therapists and philosophers had, so that you can find where you're weaker in, where you're stronger in, and then bring up the weaker parts and lean into the stronger parts. So yeah, that is the most important module right at the beginning.
I love that. Yeah, I love the holistic approach that you take. You're borrowing and threading together all of these different schools of thought so that you can have a more complete and comprehensive understanding. Awesome. So let's move into the second section. I mean, we have, because there's the part one here, you've got the 4 causes, cognitive model of anxiety, exposure model, 4 stoic antidotes. There's all kinds of great stuff in that first section. And now we move into putting some of this stuff into practice. There's this anxiety meditation course. Can you tell me what makes this meditation course different from what people normally think about when they think of meditation?
Yeah, so this meditation course for anxiety is you could say is a standalone experience, but it becomes much more powerful when you combine it with everything else in Anxiety Rewired. So when you understand how anxiety works, then you do the meditation course. It's almost like you're experiencing real time the techniques that I've talked about and the different models at play. And not only that, you're doing the processing of your anxiety in real time. So the meditation course is based heavily on the ancient philosophy of Stoicism. They had some amazing techniques to help you face your fears, conquer your fears. And modern day cognitive behavioral therapy, which is one of the most studied and proven therapies to help you overcome things like depression and anxiety, was inspired by Stoicism. So the meditation course has you go through different visualizations, but why it's different is that 50% of each of the meditation tracks is a lesson. So there's some insight or knowledge or theory. And then the second half of the meditation, you get to actually practice that theory or that insight during the contemplative space. So a lot of meditations, they just get you to sit still, focus on your breath. And then, it's kind of like mostly a silent meditation track. When you listen to this, is part lecture. And then the second part, you immediately apply the insights that you've learned. And there's a big focus on gradually turning towards your fears and anxieties and investigating them in a way that is confronting, but it also feels very safe and controlled, because you are in a good state, in a calm state, to start to look towards your anxieties. I don't want you to start off just facing your fears and, like biting off more than you can chew. It's important that we build up gradually with this sensitive topic of overcoming anxiety.
I love that. And this particular portion of the course, there have been a lot of people who have gone through this meditation process and seen a lot of value out of it, right?
Yeah, there's been almost 4,000 individuals who've gone through this experience, and I've been lucky enough to receive their feedback, and the feedback has been very promising. Some, this meditation part alone is life-changing, and it was originally the seed of why I wanted to go further with Anxiety Rewired and add so much more beyond just the meditations. But yeah, it's I put a lot of work into it. This is no ordinary 7-day meditation experience. It can be listened to multiple times and in different ways, and it's something that you can keep going back to over and over again.
I love it. And we're not talking about 60-minute meditations. They're pretty quick, right? We're talking 10, 15, 20 minutes for each sitting.
Each one's between 8 and 12 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So I love the anxiety meditation course. I love the anxiety meditation course. And actually inside of the anxiety toolkit, the bonus bundle that we've assembled, there's an additional meditation course that is focused on radical gratitude. And it has this approach of really generating and focusing on fostering positive emotions like gratitude and appreciation. And that's, we'll talk more about the bonus bundle, but that's one of the elements in there. So let's move into this part 3 here, because we've got journaling for anxiety. And there's a number of, let me bring it up here on the screen so we can see it. We've got introduction to journaling, morning check-in walkthrough, evening reflection walkthrough, triple column technique, all of these great things. So where did these journaling processes come from? There's all kinds of stuff that we have here. How did you arrive at this particular set of journaling prompts to include in this program?
Well, these are the journaling templates that I used in overcoming my own anxiety and continue to use on a daily basis, just to, live a joyful and happy life. The morning journal template and the evening journal template is something that I still do daily. And in my study, when it came to overcoming anxiety, I tried so many different things. There are so many different techniques, and, you can buy books that are full of journal prompts, like hundreds and thousands of journal prompts. But I really tried to learn from the best sources. So I looked at a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, some of the research on expressive writing for trauma healing, and I compiled my favorites. So this is like a best of the best journaling templates that I've ever found. And in the experience, I'm not just giving you questions. I've actually created the template, so you can duplicate it immediately and have it filled with the right questions in an attractive way. And that's what I do. I just, every day when I want to fill out the journal template, I just click new in the app, and it just opens up with the template ready to go. And it's a much more enjoyable way, for me at least, than sitting down and writing things out every time. And yeah, I find it much more frictionless.
Right. So if you're a pen and paper person, obviously nothing's stopping you from just copying down the questions, but it's nice to have that duplicate option where it's already a beautifully crafted journaling template, and you can just, you sort of hit that one button and you're off to the races. So that's very powerful. So we have these meditation techniques in the first part, or in part 2, and then in part 3, we've got journaling for anxiety. Now we get into the live online workshops. So let me pull this up so that we can see what's going to happen here. Now, this is a really awesome part of the experience, because people sign up and they get access to these interactive workshops where they can show up live and they can get this really targeted feedback and support, where you're going to do these live walkthroughs and share specific techniques. There's Stoic goal setting principles for living according to your values. You've got decoding the social matrix for unshakable confidence, somatic techniques for cultivating untouchable calmness, leveraging trauma healing for deep-rooted anxiety, all of this stuff, escaping negative thought loops, making work for you. You can see all of these things and more details about them on that anxietyrewired.com page. But I just love that this is a component to the experience, because it's powerful to have these self-guided modules that you can go through and have these experiences for yourself, but to have this interactive component where people can sign on and interact with you, ask questions, I think that adds a lot of potency to the experience. And if this isn't for you and you don't like live workshops, the recordings will be available. You can get all of the information and the good stuff after the fact. But if you can make it, I definitely encourage you to attend, because it just gives you this opportunity to interact with people in a way that you're not going to get out of the self-guided modules. So one of my questions for you, John, is one of the things we have here is Stoic goal setting principles for living according to your values. And this is an anxiety program. Why did it feel important to you to include a goal setting workshop inside of this program?
There's a really interesting relationship between discipline and anxiety, where we need a certain amount of discipline to do the work to overcome our anxiety. But at the same time, anxiety and other types of emotional mental blocks can actually limit our discipline. Maybe we feel some negative emotion and then that makes us give in to a bad habit, for example, right? Or makes us avoid something because we feel anxious or we don't want to face something. And so it's really important that we develop a wise approach to setting goals, to living according to our values, to finding out what our values are, that doesn't cause more pain. So my goal for everyone who attends this workshop is we can all set goals, maximize our likelihood of achieving them, and minimize any kind of negative emotion, anxiety, and stress along the way.
I love it. And I feel like it also creates this space for people to start pouring their attention into things other than their anxiety. When you struggle with it can become this place of fixation where you're just dwelling on the experience of anxiety. And when you have these goals and these aims that you want to pursue, it can create this more sort of positive attractor in the landscape of your attention, where that can start to grow versus just always being fixated on this anxiety that has got me. So I think that's a great piece. It's the first workshop in the 6-part series. 4 of the workshops delivered by you, and then 2 by our colleague Eric Brown, once a week. So it's going to be a great way to just come together and interact with the other participants in the program. So let's go back here. Yeah, we've got you can see everything on the side. And one thing I should mention, you can obviously access the course material from your laptop, from your desktop computer, but there's an app that you can use as well. So if you want to listen to the meditations while you're sitting in the park or something like that, it's super easy, very accessible. And yeah, we've got all of these: part 1, understanding anxiety; part 2, meditation course; the journaling for anxiety; the live workshops. There was the bonus bundle that I mentioned. So let's actually go over here to, I want to show one of the bonuses you get. It's actually an entirely additional course focused explicitly on social anxiety. So this is a course that you created with Eric Brown, who I just mentioned. And there are all of these additional modules designed to help you overcome social anxiety. This is just one of the 6 bonuses inside of the anxiety toolkit, which is what we're calling the bonus bundle here. So we've got, the origins and symptoms of social anxiety, the key interventions, the 10 advanced social dynamics. I mean, there's 4 parts focused explicitly on social dynamics. So it's like the positive side, not just the absence of social anxiety, but how do we flourish socially? And I'm curious, inside of this course, is there something that sticks out to you in particular? I asked you about the understanding anxiety piece and, what really stuck out to you in that particular section. And I'm curious about the same thing here. Is there a particular module or nugget that is contained inside of this additional bonus course that you think is just really, really potent? You're really excited for people to be able to experience or understand?
Well, whenever I create a workshop or a course, I always hold this kind of measurement up for myself. And that is, I want to be able to teach you, Mike, and the High Existence team something that you didn't know before, right? Like I really want to provide you with some amazing new insights that I've discovered along my journey. And this course is a good example of that. And I truly believe that the social dynamic principles are going to help you kind of glimpse behind the curtain, very much like, the movie The Matrix, and see things in a completely different way. Like, oh my gosh, I never realized that before. And even if you're interested in psychology, and evolutionary psychology and things like that, there will still be insights and models in this that will make you see the social landscape in a completely different way, and in a way that actually helps you to become more confident. Because if you look at the word confidence, we all kind of have an intuitive sense of what that is, but it's also a very vague term. And when you break down vague terms into, what they actually are, they kind of start to disappear. And in the social anxiety course, what I would like to do is break apart what confidence is into the many different parts, and then have you focus on each of those. And then when you focus on each of those, magically confidence starts to emerge. Sort of like when you get the conditions for a rainbow, right? You have some water, you have some sun, and you're thinking, what's this about? And suddenly you have a rainbow.
I love that analogy. So I'm really excited for people to dig into this material. And one of the reasons we focused on social anxiety when we were doing our research for this program, oftentimes when we're talking about anxiety, we're talking about social anxiety. That's just one of the extremely prominent cases in which people experience their anxiety. So that's why there's this entirely additional course that we included as a part of the bonus bundle. I wanted to dive into the other things that are included in that. We've got, again, this is back on that page, anxietyrewired.com. You've got the anti-anxiety tech stack. So this is something, a lot of people experience stress with the notifications that they're getting. Their technology is actually feeding their anxiety rather than being a supportive tool to keep them from having anxious episodes and anxious symptoms. So we've created this anti-anxiety tech stack, this resource guide that you can use to allow your technology to work for you and not against you. There's a stress-free daily planner. So that's another way that people struggle is around work. They experience anxiety with the work that they're doing. They wake up and already feel that sort of knot in their belly about what's about to happen that day. So giving you a tool that you can use to plan your day with less stress, or as little stress as possible, was the intention there. So there's the Radical Gratitude course that I mentioned already. That's the additional 7-day meditation course. We've got a master checklist so you can really be clear about, this every step that you're taking in this course, feel that sense of satisfaction and progress, and making sure that you're keeping yourself accountable, which is obviously important to get the results you're looking for. And this is another one I want to mention here, this real-time processing protocol. So this is, and I'd love to hear you share a little bit about this, John, or just the importance of having techniques and tools that you can use when you're in a really intense bout of anxiety. I guess my question is, why was this important for us to include?
It's important to include because in my own work on overcoming anxiety, I would do various techniques, feel an improvement, and, like my confidence would start to build. But there's always going to be that day, for whatever reason, and, who knows why, you just have a bad day. And you get triggered, you feel anxious, you get panicky. And no matter what anyone says, or, whatever you try to think about, nothing seems to work. And you just feel stuck in this kind of thought loop. And it was very important to me to be able to reach out to individuals going through that and to communicate with them. And I found that having certain protocols, certain voices, certain meditation tracks when I was going through difficult times was very helpful in getting me out of it, because you can't really think your way out of a negative thought loop. And so the live workshop, How to Escape Negative Thought Loops, is very much about this. Like, I go into, what is going on when you're in a negative thought loop, and some maxims and principles to help you come out of it. And I also provide kind of an emergency meditation. So anytime you're having a really bad day, you can just press play and sit with it, and you should be able to calm yourself down and sort out your thoughts and organize the chaos in your mind. And from that place, then you can make better decisions.
And to have that at your disposal, the calm that just knowing you have that technique, those tools that you can rely on and lean on when things get like that. I mean, that's a powerful, just to have that knowledge, Yeah. I have this, I know if things get bad, I can lean on this technique to process what's going on. Awesome. So yeah, this has been a whole process. I mean, we've had so many conversations, hours and hours of conversations talking about anxiety, talking about this program. And now we're here at this point where people are signing up and the ship is sailing. We're going to go on this voyage, transforming our relationship to anxiety. And I'm just excited to be at this juncture and to have people start to benefit from this material that you've been, curating. I mean, this is the product of 10 years of experimentation and research for yourself, overcoming your own anxiety journey. We've talked about your own story and plenty of other places. But now we're here. And if this is intriguing to you at all, if you struggle with anxiety to, a degree that you feel like doesn't allow you to really go after the life that you want, if you feel like it's keeping you from experiencing the joys of just the little things in your life that are already going really well, then I'd encourage you to consider enrolling. This is something that we've created that we stand behind. If it doesn't make a difference for you in the first 30 days, you pay nothing. And we're really getting things, we're closing the doors on August 29th so that we can begin to focus on everyone who's coming into the experience. And one thing that I didn't share is there's an entire community platform. So you'll be able to interact live on the live workshops, ask your questions there, but there's also the community platform anytime, any day. Just put your questions in there, share your wins. You'll get the sense that you're not alone. There's this whole group of people who are there to support you and have your back. And when you're trying to overcome something that's difficult, that can be very empowering to know that you're not alone and people have your back and they're there to support you. So yeah, with that said, any parting words, John, of excitement, encouragement, anything on your mind as we wrap up this Anxiety Rewired walkthrough?
Just echoing what you said, this has been many, many years in the making. And it was very important to me when putting together Anxiety Rewired that each section is in a sense an amazing course on its own. So I genuinely believe that the meditations alone, the journaling and the psychological writing exercises alone, the live experience on its own is truly profoundly transformative. But when they're combined, it's, it's like an amazing experience, that is going to be challenging, but also going to be really fun, and I'm really excited to see what kind of relationships form. And one final point on anxiety. Sometimes we get so good at avoiding the triggers for anxiety. We start almost thinking that we're fine, we're comfortable, we don't really have a need to overcome anxiety. So I sometimes like to think about the question, what would I like to do in life? What do I want from my life that I'm currently not going after? And why am I not going after it? And if the answer is anxiety, just because you're not being triggered by that on a daily basis because you're avoiding it, I just invite you, would you like to start chasing those dreams? Whether that's travel, building a social network, being more creative, expressing yourself, whatever it is, because that's what Anxiety Rewired is all about.
I think that's such an important point. Even if it's not a daily affliction, we can, there's this invisible back burner where our dreams, where we push aside our dreams and we create this fencing. We don't go near it so that we don't have those feelings of anxiety. But if it wasn't an issue, would we actually pursue those things? Would we go for it? Would we try and fail? Maybe, but at least we wouldn't just like have those things, these dreams and these desires collecting dust. So I think that's an important inquiry and reflection. Like what would you do if that wasn't present? If you were able to knock down those fences and open all those doors? I mean, so much that's possible. So Thank you, John. I hope that this walkthrough was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below and we'll make sure somebody attends to them. But yeah, if you want to enroll, you can go to anxietyrewired.com. This is the page. You're just going to go here and click this button and it's going to take you right on down. It's not taking me down right now. It should when you land on the page. All the way down to the enrollment section. There's a lot of great material on this page, but you can go here for the full payment, or you can do a payment plan. Try to make it as accessible as possible for people because this is such important work. So, John, thanks for taking the time, walking us through this. And if you decide to join, I can't wait to meet you inside the platform.